Good morning, gamers! After 14 years, Shyvana has finally gotten reworked, and I'm here to tell you everything you'll need to know. She's been out for about 2 weeks now, so we'll compare her abilities, look at items and runes, so you can decimate the rift with little smog. First, we'll compare her old abilities to her new ones to understand where we're at. Shyvana's old Q, once procced, allowed her next 2 autos to strike twice, and then gave her attack speed after. The 2 autos benefited from on-hit, so had decent synergy with Tiamat items and other on-hit items. Shyvana's new Q is very similar, but actually I think a little more clunky. Shyvana's new Q has 3 maximum stages, Q1, Q2, and Q3. Q1 strikes the target in a cone like a Titanic Hydra proc, Q2 does the same as Q1 but in a circle around the target, and Q3 is unlocked only in dragon form and does true damage. So the combo you want to look for is auto Q1, auto Q2, and auto Q3 when you have it. Her Q was a little clunky because the Q2 activates either when you auto or after a couple seconds when you Q1. I'm not sure why it was designed this way, and I think it should automatically be available to smooth out her gameplay. Next is her old W. Old Shyvana W was mostly a utility spell that gave you movement speed scaling with your AP and did some damage around you. It wasn't the craziest damage, but was useful for taking camps and moving around the rift fast. New W adapted some of the movement but changed the rest. You now get a shield on activate that scales with how many enemies are nearby, and she also gets move speed increased if she is running toward enemies. And when the shield detonates, if she hits a target, she gets a heal. This ability is nice, but it shares a similar clunkiness as the Q. Once you activate the W, you have such a short window to reactivate it, it just feels off. Finally, we have Shyvana's E, which is the one ability that has gotten more of an upgrade than the others. A major difference between old E and new E is that if you hit with the old E, your next basic attack would do increased damage, making it combo nicely with your Q. That is removed from the new E and instead has an increased slow, and in dragon form goes a fixed distance while leaving a trail of fire. And for each enemy hit with the E, it will leave behind a pool of fire doing damage over time. As for her ultimate, a big quality of life change is replacing the tricky to land knockback with a nice sphere, and she has ultimate haste now that adds a nice buff to her fury stacking. Currently as of patch 26.6, this means at rank 1, she gets her fury 100% faster and later about 50% faster. This makes experimental hexblade a decent item choice, but we'll get into that next. One of my favorite things about playing Shyvana is her build variety. You can go AD, sprinkle a little AP in there, maybe throw in a dark seal and have some fun. Unfortunately, Riot has limited her to be a bruiser, but I wish they could make full AP Shyvana viable so she can shoot massive fireballs at the enemy and have tons of fun. My build of choice is Spear Children, Triforce, and Titanic Hydra. Spear Children is a fantastic item on Shyvana, no matter what you build, as it gives you nice ability haste and increases your ability damage. I like Triforce and Titanic then and now because of the nice interactions with Q. Some other popular builds have been Kraken Slayer and Dusk and Dawn, which gives you a quicker item spike, but I don't think it scales that well. And if you want to play her AP, I'll recommend Dusk and Dawn into Leandri's into Riftmaker. But if that doesn't suit your fancy, we can see what the best performing build is on Shyvana as of the last patch. Coaches is a great site that tells you the best performing items, builds, and runes for any character. The metric they mainly use is win percentage added, but don't tune out, it's very easy to understand, I promise. Win percentage added just means that whenever this item is bought or rune is taken, you have that much higher or lower chance of winning the game. So over at Coaches, we can see the best Shyvana build that they have data for. You can see this is over 120,000 picks, 40,000 picks, 129,000 picks. So it takes the data of the game of how many times this item or rune is bought or chosen, and then it gives it the win percentage added. For example, you can see right now, Press the Attack is the strongest keystone that you can take on Shyvana according to the data. If you take it, it gives you a 0.75 chance of winning the game more likely than anyone else. And if you take Dark Harvest, for example, you have a 5% chance of losing the game. It also tells you what jungle Pokemon you can take. Right now it looks like green or red or just as strong. It tells you what first item that you can buy. It looks like Kraken Slayer is the most winningest item. I can show you all the other ones as well. It looks like Gnasher's Tooth is a -4% chance of winning. Looks like Kraken Slayer and Dusk and Dawn are really good options right now. Actually going into Gnasher's Tooth second is actually very good, so maybe a little bit more squishy than I would thought, but it also gives you some secondary options, like you could go Riftmaker or Death Stance. Down here you can see the rest of the item build. So it looks like it's recommending to go tank. So looks like the best build would be Kraken Slayer, Gnasher's Tooth, and to tank. So Randuin's, Blood Mill, Death Dance, that would depend on your matchup. And then Guardian Angel, Death Dance, Canna Rookran also depends on the matchup. Maybe even a Medjai's for some fun. It tells you what summoners to use, probably nothing too crazy here of just Flash. Interesting Ignite has some games in it, and also what boots to take on Blade Steel Caps. So that's basically Coaches, and it's a really cool tool that you can use. Unfortunately, unless you pay for the subscription, which is just $5 a month, you won't get the most up-to-date patch data. but it's not that cheap, and I'm a big subscriber. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's a cool tool that I use if I'm ever confused or want some ideas on what to build. So there you go, head over to Coachless and it will tell you everything you need to know. For my runes, my usual page is Conch, if I go AD, Triumph, Alacrity, Haste, and Boots and Cosmic Insight. I choose Boots and Cosmic Insight because it's what almost every pro jungler chooses, and it's nice to have the free boots. Alternatively, you could choose something like Gathering Storm and Celerity for scaling, and maybe even Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter to stack your fairy faster. Play around with what you like. Finally, this is all great information, but we need to know how to execute it on the Rift. Shyvana is designed as a bruiser champion. She's played best when she's in your face, shooting fireballs at people and chopping their faces off. This means you want to go in a Shyvana, but what's really important is timing. Like most scaling junglers, timing and consistency is very, very important, so you want to make sure to learn how to full clear and look only for a guaranteed play when you have your ult up. Sometimes your laners will ping you when they're getting gapped, but that's not your problem. It's not that you shouldn't care about them, but they have to understand the limits of your champion. You're not a Lee Sin, a Nunu, or a Pantheon. You're a Mundo or a Lilia. You farm up, you scale, and become this unstoppable monster no one can deal with. I hope this gives you an idea of how to play her, but if you want more specific examples, please let me know, as I would be more than happy to do another video on that. I hope you learned something from this video and can use it in your Shyvana tool belt and decimate everyone. I really hope you enjoyed the video and let me know what you thought of it. This is my first time doing something like this, so I hope it went well. Also, please like and subscribe, and make sure to follow me on Twitch and Twitter for when I stream, and have an awesome rest of your day.